Curriculum theory and practice. When teachers understand their own curriculum style, they can make conscious decisions about incorporating other styles into their practice. By Donna L. Miller. Most of us approach life with a certain style, a comfort zone, or a belief system influences or motivates many of our actions and decisions. These behaviors are so entrenched by habit and convention that we often don't give them much thought. But to deconstruct this behavior might shed considerable light into corners where bias or even unawareness lurks. You could make the argument that we are products of our own upbringing, that when we see a good teacher or what we perceive to be a good teacher, we actually try to model them and become like them. However, we don't really try to change or modify as we get older. These tendencies to act may influence us at a subliminal level, so unless we bring them to light, we may never be able to give name to our actions. And then they give a nice little diagram here. And then the article mentions 4 curriculum styles. Linear thinkers, and that's the reason I brought this article up, because it gives a real good idea of 4 different kind of styles. Generally, to be linear means to favor structure, order, and maximum control over a particular environment. The linearist wants education to be as efficient as possible, both physically and empirically. In essence, this model mimics scientific management, the way that Frederick Taylor uses science to manage business. Franklin Bobbitt transported Taylor's ideas into schools, where they were further refined by Ralph Tyler. It gives you a good idea. We don't need to look far to see these influences in schools. Scope and sequence charts, Bell schedules, grade level designs, and Bloom's taxonomies all reflect linear characteristics. The how-to books, Social Tendencies to Rate Performance Against Ideas, and Other Comparative Spirit. So are you a linear thinking? Holistics. Holistics can also work within a schedule that devotes time to instruction. Such practice cuts against their ideally. Holists believe that as long as the object of study captures students' interest, moving on to another subject makes no sense. Interest drives the learning experience, with consideration for whether an experience will open or close a student's world. Under such an organic design, curriculum emerges from negotiations among the student, teacher, and environment. Pragmatic in a Deweyan sense, the teacher arranges the environment to stimulate students to respond. The holist they talk about is the concept that a student should kind of guide the teacher into the instruction. So what would you do is you would say, okay, we're going to learn this, and if a student says, I like this topic, then the teacher would then see that the student wants to learn more in that area, and then would then focus more on that. As you can obviously see, that this would not benefit state testing, because students' lessons would get bogged down into more exploratory learning. The holist pays attention to the emotional and creative components and to the aesthetics of learning, hoping to create citizens who are productive, a term coined by Eliot. But he says productive idiosyncratic, a term coined by Elliot Eisner. Such a focus assumes that enjoyable and enlightening experience lead to learning. Laissez-faire advocates. The laissez-faire philosophy takes the freedom to act to another level, hoping to maximize individual freedom without precipitating chaos. Laissez-faire principles expose no official curriculum. Freedom is at the heart of such schools, since the laissez-faire program wants to protect students from being violated by evaluation, coercion, and power paradigms that impede learning or work against individual readiness. This philosophy endures other fundamental premises. All people possess natural traits like curiosity, learning. They want to learn how they want to learn. Children are encouraged to explore their interests and passions. And the fourth one, critical theorist. They focus on the pursuit of social justice rather than deny the presence of power relationships. The critical theorist believes in talking about the elephants in the room. The teacher's job is to guide students to see social injustices, to make the chains visible, and to uncover subliminal messages. So you would really show more of the hidden curriculum that we talk about in other lectures. The idea that sometimes some things are taught in schools that are not favorable. I'll give you an example. With a critical theorist, What they're looking at is the power of money and how money can control and also manipulate education. So, very good little theories right there. And what you want to do is find out which one you are. So hope you like it. Just a real cool little. I found the article and I thought, instead of teaching critical theory and teaching chapters of that, this article kind of breaks it down really nice. And lets you decide which one you're going to do.